everybody, this is Jason Artiga and this is another episode of Cinema Macabro. Today's video will be a review on Netflix's latest horror entry, Veronica, directed by Paco Plaza. To all you who don't know who Paco Plaza is, he directed a film called Wreck and had its sequel Wreck 2 and 3. The Superior were the first two, and it was pretty much one of the most scariest films of that year. Later on, Paco Plaza returned to that genre with Veronica, and he basically is teaming up with his cinematographer Pablo Rosso on the film. Veronica stars Sandra Escacena as the title role, and the film starts out with her and her young siblings. She's pretty much the mom at day while her real mom sleeps at night from waiting tables late at night, and it shows pretty much her day taking care of her siblings, acting like the day mom, and taking them to the private school where they all go. And the film starts out with Veronica and two friends. They decide to play Ouija board during an eclipse underneath the creepy Catholic school basement. What follows is that Veronica gets pretty much hit by this malevolent presence that later follows her after she blacks out and pretty much haunts her throughout the whole movie. Later on, this presence becomes a threat to her siblings, and she actually has to act as the mom in protecting her two sisters and toddler brother from this malevolent spirit. The film was marvelously directed by Paco Plaza, and I really liked this film because it was a slow burn, and it was a really good slow burn, and it almost felt like a combination between It Follows and The Conjuring. And it's pretty much a minimalistic horror film, not that many computer effects, lots of practicals in this film, and the film relies on its dread rather than its jump scares, even though it does have its fair share and creepy imagery. Later on, Veronica meets this nun, this blind nun, and she's like pretty creepy through the whole film, and she lets her know that she knows of this malevolent spirit. And it's a pretty good film because, like, It Follows was like the warning for kids and STDs and unprotected sex. Veronica's the warning not to use the Ouija board. And films like Witchboard and Ouija 1 and 2, especially the second one by Mike Flanagan, and other films about Ouija films, this is basically the best one out of all of them. And I like the scares in this film, and I like the minimalistic filmmaking. I love the absolute minimalistic lighting and cinematography. The cinematography is done by Pablo Rosso, who's absolutely amazing. He did the work on Wreck 1 and 2, and he's pretty much a kinetic cinematographer in those two films. In this film, you see him as very much as a person that relies on the composition of the film, and his framing is really nice, and the use of minimalistic lighting is very similar to a John Carpenter film. And when I mean by that, I mean if you can compare this film to films like I mentioned before, The Conjuring or It Follows. It's more closer to It Follows and Halloween, and it's a very much a lot of on-camera effects. And I love this film because the little charms about it. There was certain the kids in a film that play the siblings are absolutely amazing, and they're awesome to watch on screen. And I love like one unintentionally funny scene is when Veronica realizes that they're late for school and they go running in slow motion with her tired siblings, and you hear this like ominous like synth sound. It's like almost like something you would see in It Follows, and I was just like, I thought it was actually funny and actually added charm to the film. What else I liked about the film is the acting by Sandra Escacena. She's an amazing actress in this film, and she carries this weight as a young actor and amazingly. Like, she basically makes you feel like the main character. She's very much a very dramatic, and at the same time this young actress who's very intense in this film, and I'm probably going to see her, her career flourish after this film. Another thing I liked was pretty much like the score of the film. It was done by Chucky Namanera, and it was actually like synth, like minimal like Carpenter. It's like it's very simple, but at the same time effective in its use and delivery of this film. And I like the film. I like the 90s. You know, the film takes place in the 90s, so it actually has a timeless look. And I said this about my last two films, My Friend Dahmer and Super Dark Times, which also took place in the 90s. And it's a pretty good film. It looks like it's shot in the 90s, and it's based on like 90s Spanish culture during that time, which is an amazing breath of fresh air, because a lot of us haven't seen this in horror films before, you know, and we only watch mainstream horror films, so we're pretty much either the suburbs or the woods. But this was a completely breath of fresh air. I really like this film. I strongly recommend it. You see it. Another thing is like the beginning of the film starts out with the typical John Carpenter font, which is Albertus MT, which is used by cult director Neil Marshall, and it was last used on Death Note. And yes, it's a popular nod to or homage to John Carpenter whenever filmmakers use that. They also use it in The Collector too, The Collection. And again, this film was pretty much a nod to those really good low-budget, slow burn films that are awesome. And one last thing I gotta say, I would like to see more from Paco Plaza that is not a found footage movie, but something along the lines of Veronica. I wasn't too happy about Rec 3, and this makes up for the film. Guys, if you got any comments, please leave them in the comment box. And if you guys subscribe, please, I need more subscribers.